Hello, you are welcome again. Today we are going to continue with our pant class. So in our previous class we discussed we discussed the part of a trouser, and now I'm very sure we all know how to determine the measurement for a trouser. So today we are going to look into how to get the required amount of fabric for our pants. So let's get started. So today we are going to look for a dummy measurement. I'm going to get her measurement, her waist measurement. I'm going to use a waist measurement for to be 32. Hip measurements to be 40. So, and the length of the trouser to be 40. So now we have these measurements. Our waist is 32, the hip is 40, and the length of the trouser is 40. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to get, let's see how a trouser look like again. So I'm going to drop 2 this time around. This is 1, this is the front. So let's make a back. So when you see this, you realize this is a little bit longer than this. They are of the same length to here. To the crotch line from the hip is, they are of the same length, but one is a little bit pointed out. This one, the crotch extension is longer for the back bodies than the front. So we have this. It's not very clear. So we have this. So the next thing I'm going to do now is, how do we determine the amount of measurements? Judging from the hip measurements here, you know we need 2 of this for the front. We need 2, and we need 2 back bodies. So which means that, and now the crotch extension. Let me write the crotch extension. The crotch extension is for the front is 2. And for the back is 4. Some people use 4.5 and 2.5. They are still okay, especially when you are working with a very big someone with a big hip, like let's say 40 and above. You use 2.5 as a crotch extension and 4.5, but this is still within the range. 40 is still big, just a big size, not an extra large. So we are going to use 2 inches for the crotch extension for the front, and for the back we have 4 inches. So now let's go on. You know we have 2 crotch, we need 2 front bodies and 2 back bodies, which means that we are going to have 4 inches the total of the crotch extension, and the back bodies also we have 8 inches, because we need 2 times 2 we have 4, 2 times 2 times 4 we have 8. So we need 8. So when you add it together, we have 12, which means the total crotch extension that we need is 12. So I'm going to write CE here. That is the crotch extension. The next thing is that our hip is 40. So we add this hip to the crotch extension, which is 12. We have 52. But we can't stop as that. We still need seam allowance. There is seam, the joining allowance of one crotch to the other. So what do? I'm going to make sure they are equal. So I like using 2 inches or 1.5 inches, and we're going to have 4 bodies, 2 for the front and 2 for the back, which means that let's use 2 inches. Let's use 1.5 times 4. We have 6. Yes, we have 6 inches. 1.5 times 4, we have 6. So when you add 6 plus 52, we have 58 inches, which means that our width for the fabric is going to be 58. By the length is 40, but we can't use 40 like that, because we still need folding allowance, the top folding and the underneath folding. If you are going to add your waistband, you don't need the top folding. But if you are not going to add a waistband, let's say you are going to add just an elastic, you need to fold the elastic in, so we need seam allowance. But since we are just starting, we are going to make a basic trouser with an elastic first. So we are going to need the top folding and the underneath folding. So the top folding will be like this, something like this, addition of 2 here, and addition of another inches here. So it depends on how you're going to use it, but I'm going to use 2 inches for the top and I'm going to use 2 inches for the down. It's not fixed, you can change yours. So I'm going to use 2 by 2 here, which means 2 plus 2 here, I'm going to have 4. So I'm going to add the 4 inches to here. I'm going to have 4 inches to the 40, which is the length. So we have 40 plus 4, we have 44. So we have 44 inches. So we have 44 inches long and 58 inches width. So that is all. Now after this, now we can now separate the front and the back bodies. So the back bodies will be, let's start with the front bodies. It's just to take the front, we're going to divide the hip by 2. We have 20 inches. Let me write F here and let me write B here. We have the hip measurement, that's 20. We have the crotch extension, let's write CE. The crotch extension is for the front we have 4, 2 times 2, that is 4, and for the back we have 8. The seam allowance is 1.5 times 2, which is 6, which is 3 and 3. So for the back is 3, for the front is 3. So we add this together, 20 plus 4, I have 24. 24 plus 3, I have 27. So for the front, I have 20 plus 8, that's 28. 28 plus 1, I have 31. Which means that my front bodies will be 27 inches wide and 31 inches wide for the back bodies. And by the length, so it's going to be 24 inches wide for the front and 44 inches long for the length, 44 inches long for the length. So that is all on how to determine the amount of fabric. So now that we have known that, we can now go on to the next class. So see you in the next class. Bye bye. Have a wonderful day.